So we're in Pebble Beach now. We're a little drive from Monte Sereno because there was no way we were missing this interview. I have a couple here who has stories to tell. We have Joel and Dena Gambord, who lived in Monte Sereno from what years? What year did you move in?
1967.
1967. And you've been married how many years?
I think it's about 37, 38.
So does that take us, what year does that take us back to?
That takes me back to not far enough with this man.
So before we start in, because your stories and your history is so wonderful, I mean, 4 years on the city council, you lived in the Steinbeck home, which we will really talk about. But, you know, Monte Sereno means serene hill. You know, Monte's hills, Sereno is serene. So that, I guess, is the legal definition of Monte Sereno. What would be your definition of Monte Sereno? How would you describe it in just a couple of sentences?
I wouldn't change that at all. I think it's, when I saw the property, I said it's a relaxing kind of a place.
So just serenity. Living in Monte Sereno is serenity.
Right.
And you left.
It was very hard to leave.
Was it? What do you miss about Monte Sereno?
The house was very cozy.
We're talking about the Steinbeck House.
Yeah. No, the Gambord house.
Excuse me, you're right.
It was a very comfortable house. It was just informal, and we had had a lot of good experiences there.
A lot of memories.
Yes, we
A lot
did.
of memories.
And even when I got involved with the city council,
Yes.
that was an interesting part of my life.
So now you moved from Santa Clara to Monte Sereno?
Well, I was living in my apartment for a few weeks, and I said, I don't like this here. I saw an ad in the newspaper, the San Jose Mercury, describing this house in the hills, and it sounded good, so I called up and
Greenwood Lane, right?
it didn't have an address for it.
Really?
It just made this description of this oak trees and a small house.
And again, we're 1967, you said?
67.
Uh-huh.
And so I called up and made an appointment to go look at it. And I walked around and I said, I'll take it.
Just like that. And do you remember what you paid for it?
Yes. I paid $65,000 for it.
$65,000. Now, was it still the original house, or it had been updated quite a bit?
No,
Had nothing.
original.
Steinbeck, John Steinbeck, he built it, right? I think it was him.
Him and Carol built it.
Him and his wife, Carol. And this was what, in the 1930s?
Yes, they built it in 36, I think they
He
built
had
it.
not written The Grapes of Wrath yet, or Of Mice and Men. What brought him to Monte Sereno? What brought him to this house?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
I don't know either, and we can't ask him.
Yeah,
He didn't write a book about it. He should have.
yeah.
We have several of his books, but nowhere do they mention why he came to Monte Sereno.
So I think originally it was about 1,300 square feet. This is what it looked like when you bought it?
This is what it looked like when I bought it.
Do you know how many owners it had
Just
between
one.
him?
Two.
Two.
That's right. It was 800 square feet.
800 square feet.
The main house was 800 square feet, and it had next to it, maybe 20 feet away, was a 300 square foot guest house. But these were mountain cabins.
Yeah.
It has no foundation. It's on posts.
Oh my God, look at that.
This is what it was when I bought it.
Wow.
This was the Steinbeck House.
So what made you fall? You said I bought it right on the spot. What was it?
I don't know, it just grabbed me.
Well, and you're a developer, so you probably were thinking, I can do this, I can do that.
Yeah, well, and...
And you were not with Dena yet.
No, I was not. I was with another girlfriend.
Well, we won't talk about her.
No, but she had 3 kids. So I said, well, we got to put some bedrooms. And we ended up tying this cabin to the guest house.
All right, makes sense.
And we ended up with, I think, 3 bedrooms down the hallway, and little places for kids.
And a recreation room in the center where there was no house before they connected the two pieces together.
How much property was there?
1.7 acres.
1.7 acres. And then the house grew and grew. It was not a historical landmark at that point.
No.
No,
We're
you know,
responsible for that.
when
You
I
were,
was-
well, yes.
When I was first saw the house, they say this was a Steinbeck house. So
Yeah.
it didn't mean anything to me. I mean, I was interested in the property, and matter of a couple of weeks, I owned the property.
Unbelievable. You
And-
moved in that quickly?
Yes,
And you
Yeah.
said, what are we doing now?
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the broker, I forget his name, Bruce something. His wife, in the house was a beautiful fireplace, and then it was a bucket that
It was an iron pot.
iron pot. Yeah,
Excuse me for correcting you.
No, that's okay.
It was hanging inside.
yeah, and
Really?
the woman wanted to take that with her. I said, "Oh no, this is part of the house." So
Is it
it's
still
staying.
in the house?
I
Is it
think
still
it
there?
probably is.
So when did you start making it your home, the Gambord home? You know, where you really started adding to it.
I would say it was a couple of years after that, probably around '69.
And when did it become a historical landmark? and how is there a sign up? I'm gonna have to drive by. I've never driven
Well,
by it.
You know, I brought this, I found this by going on the internet. This was, let's see if I can find the date on this. Looks like '89.
89. Is
Yeah.
that when it became a
This
historical?
is when two women from Monte Sereno.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, National Register of Historic Places.
Yes. Now, well, you have to be careful with the semantics because it's places, not house. And that's a distinction. We had no problem with it being an historical place, but not a historical structure, because after when we came
Most
to
of the
remodel
structure
the
was
kitchen,
gone.
which was much later, there had been several remodels and additions prior to that.
So, how many historic places are there in Monte Sereno?
I think that's the only
That's
one.
it. And
well,
it-
no, there is one other. I think it's the dairy.
The dairy, the Caravel Dairy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is.
I think-
Claravale. You know, that's where Vincenzo buys his milk all
Yes.
the time. Today, our chef goes there and buys his milk.
So wait,
Well,
the
they come
Caravel
here,
Dairy
actually.
is still in existence?
It's still in existence.
And they still
But
put
Mr.
up-
Peake, who owned it, is no longer
It was
there.
the Peak family, right?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing pictures of them doing home deliveries with, the milk bottles.
Exactly.
And wow, so okay. What kind of a sign is up? What kind of a landmark is at this house now? Is it on a wood post? What is it?
No, it's nothing. There's-
Nothing, so you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
Driving by,
exactly.
you wouldn't know it's the Steinbeck House unless you knew it was 16250 Greenwood Lane.
Yeah.
Now we all know where it is. 16250 Greenwood Lane. And you know what? I looked it up on Zillow recently. It is. Do you know what it's worth now?
No.
It said $9.8 million.
Well, that's good because we sold it for a really good price.
What did you sell it for? Do you remember?
Sell $5.5 million.
$5.5 million. And what year was that? Right before you came here?
Just before we
1999.
came.
1999. So you were on city council from 96 to 2000.
Well, yeah, that
So
last year.
where were you living that last year if you sold the house in 1999? You still had one more year of city council.
No, I had resigned.
You had you resigned.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We're jumping. We're going too fast here. I want to get back to this historic places because how difficult was it to remodel once you got this landmark status?
Well, it became really
Difficult.
insanely difficult.
Difficult.
But there
We
is
had
this-
a new city manager came on board. She was her name was
Carolyn.
Carolyn Lear.
Is she going to be upset we just said her name? Are you still mad at her?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Well, she came as city manager from the entertainment department of Santa Clara,
Oh, right.
and so she had no experience.
Why did you want the historical landmark status?
We didn't.
We didn't. We were approached. We were approached.
We were
about this.
acquiesced. We were approached by these two women, Galtieri.
Susan Schillingwall and Gualtieri, who was a former something in Los Gatos.
Got a little grimace in your face right
one
now.
time or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
She might have been the mayor at one time. But we also, at the same time, we said, if this is going to affect what we want to do with this house, we're not going to do it. And he says, well, we'll guarantee that it will not affect anything.
They always say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we found that out. Yeah.
So you wanted to make it bigger, or are you just remodeling what was already in the inside?
Oh, we expanded it.
Sure. You had the property. Why
Well,
not?
Yeah, we had, we had from 800 and 300, we ended up, I think, was close to 5,000 feet. So we had,
It's very sizable.
But
yeah,
we
we
really
added to
didn't do
the-
anything except add in that big family room in the center between the guest house and the main house.
So I know that you wanted to remodel the kitchen, and I think they got a little huffy over that. What
they
was their
said basically,
problem?
Carol and Lear basically said, you can't touch this house. This is the Steinbeck house. This
But-
is historical property. And you can't touch it. And that was it.
And is that when you got out your dictionary and said it's a place? It's not a house.
But
Well-
Joel, do you remember that we had a permit to tear that house down, issued by the city of Monte Sereno, to tear the house down? We were going to build a little French chateau on the property.
Yeah, and we didn't do it.
And we didn't. We decided we couldn't touch the house. We really didn't want to tear it down and start over because it was it's an important piece of
History,
property.
sure.
Well, it had a great deal of charm itself that we loved. And you can get into here, and they made statements like the changes that we did made were consistent with what was there, the architecture, the interior paneling, the knotty pine interior.
We had that special milled just
I
for
went
that.
to a mill and had them duplicate new pines that matched the old, and we stained them. Everything looked the same.
And we
it
never
was
touched the fireplaces or anything.
Yeah.
Really. Even the room that was designated as Steinbeck's writing room, which was at the end of the house, we left that because it made an entry into our bedroom and bathroom area that we added on later.
You know, it almost seems like it should be a tourist attraction because I want to see the inside now.
Well, you
I
know,
would love to
for-
see his writing room.
There was a period of time when we opened the house up for
Oh.
tours. We had several schools call us, and I can't remember the other people that called.
kind of you.
But we opened the house for people to come. We had a group of Japanese people come one year,
yeah,
and they toured the house and the property.
about a dozen of them.
So we wanted to keep it the way it was, except just expand it a little bit.
Well, how bad did the fight get with the city?
Well, it got bad to the tune of $30,000 of legal fees and 9 months of time.
So did they stop you from doing work?
Oh, yes.
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then even after we got started with it, they had all these conditions. Thou can't do this and thou can't do that, and so on. And one day, the chairman of the historical committee came out to our property. We had a big dumpster out there, and he jumps in the dumpster, and he's going through things. He found a board that we had taken off that was full of termite holes, and he says, you're not supposed to touch this. This is historical stuff. And
We really sort of started calling it hysterical.
Yeah, really?
It was really hysterical.
Really?
And he
Yeah.
said, you've got to stop construction. And they did. They red tagged the job. And Carolyn Lear sent the police out one night to see that we were not doing any unauthorized construction at night.
Wow.
And
They were roaming around outside our bedroom window. We could hear them behind the house in the back. And Joel got up with his flashlight and he says, "Who's out there? Who is this?" The police. Well, what are you doing here? He says, well, we were told to come by and make sure you're not working at night on
That would
this
have been
house
Los Gatos
tearing it
Police, because Monte Sereno does not have its own police
It
department.
was.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
It was.
Oh my goodness!
Well,
but
anyway, we
you
just-
persevered.
It got more ridiculous all the time, but we did because they were so wrong. And I mean, the call at the Steinbeck House had already gone through several remodels. Because this attempt to remodel was was as late as 94, 95. Okay?
Now, is that what made you finally say, "I'm running for city council"? This is
Yes,
ridiculous.
when we finally got through, I said, somebody's got to fix this. This is crazy. Absolute insanity. So I said, I'm going to run for council. My friend said, you're the last guy in the world I would ever think would want to do this.
And why is that?
I just was determined to fix it
Yeah.
if I could. And I did get elected. Somewhere they said by a landslide.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was.
Anyway, there was.
We'll stick to that.
There were two of us. We were like peas in a pod. That was Gordon Knight and myself. And the very first night we sat down as councilmen, we proposed a new law
Yeah.
that thou shalt not put any home on the historical registry without the owner's permission. And out in the audience, one of the hysterical guys stands up. He says,
One of the hysterical
he says,
guys.
nobody will want to do that. We said, yeah, now you're getting it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Now you're getting it. And it passed 3-2. Jack, did you vote with us, Jack, on that?
I can't remember.
We-
Joel.
We have sitting in our audience here. You're going to see Joel every now and then refer to somebody. He's talking about Jack Lewis, who we're going to be talking to soon. So yes, we do have Jack sitting in the corners
I don't
there.
remember. It may have been Suzanne Jackson. I don't remember who came with us.
Yes.
But we got it passed.
Your
and
first victory.
That was the first. And
Tell me some of the other things you got passed.
I own it.
huh?
I voted for that. picture.
Did you vote for that?
Yeah, homeowners' rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I understand it's been tried to be undone several times, unsuccessfully.
Well,
So I think it's still there. You're mayor. Did you remember that?
we're getting everybody involved in this.
I do remember we tried to always make sure that the owner agreed to whatever
That's the key.
status was assigned to the house.
Well,
It
that
was up
was
to
the
owner
correct
to
thing.
Initiate the historical status.
And are there any other homes that do have that historical status now? Maybe, does the Kincaid home have it?
Who?
Thomas Kincaid's home?
I
I don't know.
know.
And I know, and I'm thinking the only other really famous person I know is Billy Jones Railroad. And then, of course, we got the Caraval Dairy. So I guess there are a few other places that could have some historical landmark
Well,
status.
you know, there's such a distinction between a place and the building. And this is the place, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm not going to argue with you.
Why not?
I'm not arguing. So tell me, so we have our first victory on city council. Tell me some of the other things that you got done on city council that you said, Monte Sereno's got to have some changes. We're doing this. What other things did you want to change
I
or
don't
keep the
think there
same?
was much else we had burning in our belly
Yeah, no.
except this. But we were, I would say, you could call Gordon Knight and I conservatives.
Okay.
And we had some ladies on the council that were at the other end of the spectrum. And so we had some difficulties like that. But I can't remember anything specific or as important as this.
Now, you're a developer, done quite well, obviously, for yourself. Were you pro-growth, or did you want things to stay still for Monte Sereno?
Monte Sereno, stay still.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest regrets that I know about Monte Sereno is the loss of the La Hacienda.
So, I grew up in San Jose, but my mother's favorite restaurant was La Hacienda.
Yeah.
And almost every Sunday we had dinner at La Hacienda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
was
did
wonderful
too.
for years.
Yeah.
Years and years. And I remember this happened when I was there. The state has these regulations that every city had to have so many various kinds of
Affordable housing.
affordable
Yes,
housing
yes.
and so on and so forth. And there was no place to put apartments or anything like that in Monte Sereno. The only piece of property that was anything was,
Right on the other side of Scenic Highway 9.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I guess we finally lost that battle because I understand it's been approved now
Yes.
for condominiums. And I mean,
I think it's going to be a combination of single homes and condominiums, but still no retail. Are you happy Monte Sereno
would you
never got
trade
in?
that for La Hacienda? That beautiful little building.
I know.
And
It was a beautiful building. Yeah. Okay. I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. Are you happy that Monte Sereno never got into the commercial business at all? I mean, there's no retail. There's nothing.
There's no
Right.
space anywhere.
Well,
for
there is no space. It's 1.6 square miles large.
yeah. No,
I think
I don't feel bad about it at all. I think that Monte Sereno is what it was intended to be by the Admiral when he formed it.
Yes.
A quiet, small town that was controlling its own destiny. That was the whole idea of making it a town.
Well, now were you around in '57? That's when they were worried that Los Gatos was going to annex them and take them over, and they became a city, the 16th city of Santa Clara
Yes.
County.
Yeah, no, we weren't. At that.
Well, I wasn't, but I was up to my eyebrows in building in
Yes.
San Jose and Santa Clara. And so I didn't know too much about it, but I remember when we finally did move there, it was kind of fun to see the city manager. He was the Admiral's son.
Yes, Admiral.
Ingles.
Yes, Ingles.
Ingles, yes.
Yes,
And
Ingles,
he
the
was-
first mayor, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and he rode around in this Rolls Royce.
Woo! Really?
It was a right-handed drive Rolls Royce, and this was our city manager, and he would tour the town.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you don't find city managers like that. They're usually driving the
was a-
Priuses.
It was a riot. And after that, we got Wimberly, Don Wimberly, and he was a pretty cool guy. I liked him a lot. He was actually a civil engineer, so he had a lot of basic knowledge. He wasn't up here somewhere.
There was a lot of money. Going back to the original time, I think after World War II, a lot of people started settling in Monte Sereno, and I think some of them were wealthy. And it still has great wealth, of course, but there was a lot of wealth, right? Did you like that idea? Was it nice to see a Rolls Royce driving down the street?
Well, that just didn't impress me or Dena. I don't believe we just liked the environment.
Yeah.
It was
One elementary school,
Yeah. And then there
Dave's
was the-
elementary school, started
I
with
got-
260
you just
people.
brought up something.
Oh,
yeah.
so what did we just trigger in your brain?
Oh, when I was on the council, the council members wore several hats, and one of the hats I was on was the architectural committee, and I was on it with Suzanne Jackson, and we met. I think it was once a month or every 2 weeks. I don't remember, but the church came in for a permit for a cell site. Okay, this is across the street from the school, and they were going to camouflage the cell tower with the cross. Okay, and Suzanne Jackson said, "You can't do this. You can't do this. You've got all these children across the street, and you're going to have all these radio waves coming out of this thing constantly forever." I said, "Suzanne, what are you talking about?" Well, we got into a little bit of a match there.
The developer over here, I see it.
Yeah,
And who won this one?
Well, I guess I did because she finally caved in and gave them approval. I mean, they were threatening to go to the FCC. I mean,
I know as a mother, and I would have had small children at the time, I would not have wanted that cell tower there.
Yeah.
Yes. So you did
There you
good.
go. There you
You
go.
did well. So tell me some more fun stories about Monte Sereno.
oh my gosh.
You know what I have found, you know, looking at their website and everything, it's a city that cares so much about its history and is so proud of its history. And I mean, you know, there were fireworks back in the 30s. There was the fireworks company, the Hill family, I think. And then, of course, you had the dairy. And when I see those pictures of them making the little milk deliveries, I just think that is the sweetest thing.
I remember a big hassle about, I think it was Christmas decorations.
Yeah, what was the rule there? What's the rule?
Well, one guy had this over-the-top house decoration.
Uh-huh.
I mean, everywhere you could look, it was there. And his neighbors didn't like it.
So
They objected, and they wanted the city to fix it. And
how'd you feel about that?
I thought it was nonsense. If you want to do it, let them do it, and just Christmas will be over in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and even Los Gatos, you know, they had their fireworks, and they had a whole neighborhood going out to where Jack lived, towards La Rinconada Country Club. There was a neighborhood in there that every house in the block was a half circle, no exit, little community.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Every single house, and hundreds of people drove by that every Christmas
Yeah,
to look at
right.
it.
Well, now, of course, there's Fantasy of Lights in
Yeah.
Lake Vasona every year that just draws.
At Monte Sereno?
Yeah, and well, Lake Vasona, they have a
Vasona.
huge
Oh,
Christmas
yeah,
Fantasy
yeah,
of
yeah.
Lights. You drive through, and
Yeah.
it's something else, but
Yeah.
it does draw the crowds.
Yeah, it does. That neighborhood did too.
So, did you ever feel, you know, like, okay, now we have to go to Los Gatos to eat dinner? Well, you had Los Hacienda, of course, but did you spend a lot of time in Los Gatos? Do Monte Sereno residents just flock to Los Gatos?
Yes,
Well,
we did, because
yeah.
there's no place else to go.
Yes.
Unless you went to San Jose or
Right,
somewhere
right.
like that, or way down towards Valley Fair,
Uh-huh.
which used
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
They had some
Different.
good restaurants in Los Gatos.
Yeah, they did. The Old Town was developing before we left there.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
really?
It
Really?
was quite the place to go. And there was Pedro's, was a
Yeah. Oh,
Mexican restaurant.
yes. Oh,
And then
yes.
behind that now is a restaurant that's been there some time.
Manresa?
Yes, Manresa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the restaurant on the end of, you're going toward Big Basin, on the end of almost to starting to turn to the left, on the right side?
Double D's, the sports bar?
No?
Oh,
No?
that was a big controversy when they named
I
that Double D's.
Oh, yeah.
was-
yeah, remember that?
I mean, it was all over town, yeah.
Well, and even Monte Sereno.
Yeah.
So what are you called? Monte Serenians? What would your residents be called? Do you have a nickname for yourself?
Just Monte Sereno.
Yeah, just Monte Sereno. Okay, Monte Sereno residents. But you got involved with what was going on in Los Gatos too. You
To
know,
some
you were
degree, yeah.
interested.
Well,
Right.
we were, because it was the only community that was
Yes.
close to us, you know. It's like here, we live in Pebble Beach, but we have Carmel.
Right. But are Monte Sereno residents very glad that they were never annexed by Los Gatos? Do you talk about it sometimes? You talk about it over the years
Oh, it
and
never
say,
hap-
we'll go there, but
It
we
would
want our
never
own
hap-
town.
Would never happen.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was jealous
I never
of
heard that mentioned. yeah.
their independence.
Yes.
And I think that's what made the Admiral want to do it in the first place.
Where did you have your city council meetings?
At the City Hall.
At the city hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I do remember a story.
Okay.
Gordon and I would, after the council meeting, we would go over to the Hacienda, sit in the bar, and have a couple of drinks. We're talking about some of the things that are going on. And the bartender
All ears.
was all ears. And I don't know what happened, but the next day, I got a call from somebody from the newspaper what's this we hear you're violating the Brown Act by talking about council business in a bar?
I was just thinking that as you were saying that, like, oh, Brown Act,
Yeah.
If you follow that. Because were you all friends on city council and you all hung out after hours, so to speak?
Well, Gordon and I hung out.
Yeah.
But Jack.
Oh, bringing Jack Lewis into this again.
Jack didn't join us very often. But anyway.
I'll get my time.
Oh, you will get your time.
The thing is that the point of it was that it was only two of us. If there had been three of us,
But was 3 the magic number?
yeah, that would be
A violation of the Brown
majority
Act.
of the Brown Act. Yes, you can't do that.
And did you think that the Mercury News is interested in the two of you having a drink at La Hacienda, just kind of gossiping about the
Well,
neighborhood?
The bartender had a gotcha. He thought he got us.
But yeah, you have in Monte Sereno. Everybody's got some property. The homes are not like tract homes. Everybody's got their own type of home, their own type of piece of property. But is it real neighborly? Everybody kind of knows everybody.
Greenwood Lane was neighborly.
Yeah.
Very neighborly.
We knew
but-
everybody on Greenwood Lane,
Yeah.
and they knew us.
Did you have block parties?
No, we really didn't have parties, but we did things
Very,
like
very-
get together and have the road paved, and everybody would contribute because
Yeah.
Greenwood wasn't taken care of by any city.
Was that unincorporated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
so
was
yeah,
a
you had no.
private road.
Oh, so who did pay for things like that? All of you would chip
All
in.
of us, yeah, everybody would chip in. And
You go
Well,
next door and knock and say,
Well,
we
It's
need
time
to do
fix
this.
the road, yeah.
Well, because I was a builder, they thought I could get it done cheaper. So
And did you?
I think so.
Gotta
think
come in
so.
handy some way.
Yeah, I'd get my contractor guy to come up and
Yeah.
pave it. But we had some good people there, and school teachers that were there.
School teachers could afford to buy in Monte Sereno?
Well, the Goldbergs were up the hill at the end of the lane,
Yeah, and who?
and the other gentleman, the older man that we've got tomatoes from, he had great tomato patch.
Oh, well, let's see. What kind of produce did we start with way back when in Monte Sereno? Prunes?
No.
I don't know what was back there.
There was, it
Because
was
I grew up in Santa Clara Valley
Okay.
after I moved from here.
Prune
and
capital,
it was
yeah.
prunes and
Yeah.
apricots and cherries and everything. It
Well,
was
I think there were like 28 farms in Monte Sereno, if I remember right, when I was kind of looking into it. No farmland anymore. As you said, all the
No,
land
there
is
wasn't.
gone, right? Except for that one piece where the La Hacienda was.
Well, I wish we could have had this a couple of years ago. Our memory is getting.
Your memory is excellent. And Joel, you can't see, I'm looking at you and Dena, both of you. When you talk about Monte Sereno, your face just lights up and automatic smiles come. There's such joy and love. And I don't know if everybody can say that about where they grew up, where they live. You obviously still have a love for Monte Sereno.
Well, we had a lot of fun there, and even though I disagreed with some of these ladies on the council, we had fun.
he had a good time.
I had a
during
good
that.
time.
His
You like
campaign
stirring
was
up
fun,
trouble,
too.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
His
you
campaign
like
was
doing
fun.
that.
We took a photograph of my two grandchildren sitting in a bathtub with bubble bath in it, and that was part of his slogan on his campaign.
Well, what did you campaign on? What was your campaign?
Common sense.
Common sense.
That's all. Let's have some common sense.
And I
has-
saw
he
your
still-
desk
He's got one on there
here in
too.
Pebble Beach, and you got the little sign, Common Sense.
My daughter brought me that.
Yeah? She
Yeah.
knew Dad, huh?
Yeah, she did.
And were you vocal? Like, were these city council meetings rowdy, or was everybody very polite? And
Oh, they were
stayed?
very polite.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Most of the time, it was
yeah.
just.
Jack ran a tight meeting.
Thank you.
Did you ever want to be mayor?
I would have liked that, yes, but I.
Well, what
but
happened?
I just couldn't say the right things
You
to
were,
the right
but
people.
you were in 4 years, and you should have gotten a turn by then. Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
You certainly should have been mayor at least once.
And Gordon and I also.
Yeah?
Neither one of us. We were on the outs. Yeah.
You like to stir up trouble. Is he like that in your marriage too? Kind of likes to. Sometimes.
Sometimes. But I take care of myself.
Yeah, I think you do. I think you do. You got a good lady over there. But yeah, Monte Sereno, you go back now. I guess when you were there, was there a lot of traffic?
Not much. No.
No.
No, there
But-
wasn't. But
High-
Greenwood Lane was busy because everybody was going up and down a one-lane
Yes.
road.
Yes.
And the hill going down, the people had to back up, and they didn't like it. And we had more confrontations
I bet.
on who was going to back up and who wasn't.
You needed a city council law. You needed a rule.
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring that up?
But we had wonderful neighbors on that street. And around the corners, we had the people, the strawberry people. What was their name? They're still creating strawberries.
Oh, Driscoll.
Driscoll strawberries.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah,
That the
Driscoll-
Driscoll
They
family
on
lived
Magellan
there.
Rock.
Yeah, they
Oh.
did. They're all the kids, and yeah.
Wow. Keep in
Yeah.
touch with anybody? Nah,
No.
I know.
The only one we keep in touch with is a guy by the name of Randy Cowherd. Mm-hmm. Randy lived at the top of Matilla. If he kept going all the way to the top, he was right up there. He ran San Jose Blueprinting.
Oh, yes.
That was his
So,
business.
huh?
That was his business.
And Randy, I knew him and I knew his family, but they ran the business. I did a lot of blueprinting with him. And we met him several times down here. He was involved in cars.
He was a judge at the concourse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of CEOs and executives and business owners in Monte Sereno, probably still very similar to the makeup now.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
it's
sure there were a lot more that we didn't meet.
well, of course,
Because
yes.
there was no, except the city council, that's the only meeting place we
But
ever
how
had.
nice to have a city with 3,700 residents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
You do get to know everybody.
Yeah.
We had our sailboat at Santa Cruz, and we had a doctor and his wife that lived in Monte Sereno
Uh-huh.
as well. And they were good friends, and we would see them occasionally.
Was there a gathering spot in the city? Of course, La Hacienda, but was there a place like a corner where everybody just kind of would wave and, you know, if you wanted to see somebody, kind of went to Winchester, maybe Winchester and Dave's or something like that?
Yeah.
I will tell you this, there's a man here by the name of Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor was the executive director of the Center for Photographic Art in Carmel. And Brian Taylor and I have become very good friends. I got involved in photography, which I'm having fun doing. And we have, in fact, I'm having lunch with him tomorrow with another, there's three left-handers. We're all getting together.
Me too, 4.
But the point is that
You should
Brian
invite
lived
me
in
to
Monte
lunch.
Sereno when I was there. I said, "Did you vote for me, Brian?" He said, "Yeah, I did."
So before we're going to bring Jack on soon, but before, because I want to make sure I didn't miss any fabulous story or history lesson about Monte Sereno. When you heard that the city was doing this project, you know, about the history of Monte Sereno, what came to your mind? What did you say? Oh, we got to talk about that.
I wrote it on my email to you. What fun!
What fun!
What fun to go back and.
He's been looking forward to this ever since you called.
As
Yeah.
have I. As have I.
And I'm so glad Jack's here, because Jack was a school teacher, and
You learned a lot from you, Jack.
Jack, to me, and I hope that you don't take this bad, Jack. He ran this council meeting like he was running the classroom.
What? Well, somebody apparently had to keep things, running right.
Yeah, well,
keep control.
He did. That's why he was
Yeah.
the mayor for 14 times, I think.
Do you ever go home from a city? It was only 5, but it may have felt like 14. And now that I know you never got a chance, we're going to give him some business about that. But did you ever come home from a city council meeting and say to Dena, "Why am I doing this?"
Yes, I think that's happened a few times.
Well, actually, I attended most of the meetings with him. It was rare that I didn't go.
How many people would go to a city council
I
meeting?
don't know. I couldn't count them.
you know?
Sometimes it was packed. Sometimes we're less than 6 people.
Because how many issues can you have in the small city of Monte Sereno, right?
That's right.
A lot of it was
Right.
about property rights, I
Yeah.
believe, most of it.
Yeah. Not many renters in Monte Sereno, I guess. Probably almost everybody's a property owner.
Yeah. Just the people,
Probably.
there's a little
I would
motel
say
next door
so.
to La Hacienda. Those are the only renters that ever came around, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Quite
is
the
such a
place.
shame that has changed.
Yeah, that's really bothering you.
It does.
I
It
almost feel
bothers me.
bad that I mentioned it.
Well, when I've been getting the minutes. I've been on the mailing list ever since I left from Monte
You,
Sereno.
from the city council meetings?
Yes, I get it all the time. And when I saw what was going on with that La Hacienda, I was very close to writing an email or showing up at the council. God, don't do this.
It was only one family that owned it, right? I don't think that was ever sold.
That's right. I think
It was the
one
original
family.
owners.
And I don't know. I don't believe they actually operated the restaurant. They were more
They
interested
had the
in
little the hotel or
room
motel.
rentals.
Yeah.
They had maybe 6 rooms. Or
Yeah,
something.
yes, very small motel or hotel.
But it just it was so quaint. It has such a history itself.
Yeah.
And good food.
Yeah, what was your favorite meal there?
Oh, jeez. They deep fried ravioli, I remember that. We had those.
Cannelloni.
Cannelloni. I think that's what I had
Yeah, the
when I would
cannelloni
go.
was delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All their food was good.
Yeah.
We had more parties at that restaurant.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And you knew the bartender? You knew the bartender?
The bartender. You know, you have to laugh at that kind of stuff. You can't get.
Right. And that was a gathering spot, I guess. Were most of the customers from Monte Sereno and Los Gatos? I would think so,
I
except
think
for
I
the
think some of
Kreisler
them were,
family.
yeah.
There were some guys in there from San Jose with their new girlfriends.
Yes. Oh yeah, prom dinners there. Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
But I think my mom, I mean, maybe you knew my mom and we didn't even realize it because my mom just loved that place and felt like it was her home.
Yeah.
And, and she'd walk in and act like she owned the place. You two are a delight. And I think when Monte Sereno lost you, they lost some of their history. They
Well,
lost
we've
some
tried
of their
to stay involved
delightful.
with this community as much as we can.
Yes.
And we have done that.
Yes.
We are.
But again, just
managing
seeing the
that.
love on your face when you talk about Monte Sereno is just wonderful.
Well,
That's
it
what
was-
this history project is all about because there is so much love about Monte Sereno. And, quite the, Billy Jones Railroad. Well, we'll wait for Jack. There's so much we can talk about. But you two, thank you so much for having us in your home.
Oh, you're so welcome.
It's been
Thank
wonderful.
you for coming.
So I'm going to sign off for now until we meet again. Lissa Kreisler, KCAT TV 15.